Well, here we are, our destination, the lake. It's the swimming hole. As kids, we spent countless hours down here swimming, boating, making little reed boats and floating them out. And you've heard of swim like a fish? Well, that's what we did. We learned to swim like fish. Our dad loved swimming too, so he'd be out there swimming and encouraging us to learn to swim too. And there was so much to do and see. But as you can see, the lake has receded drastically since the 1980s. So at the place where I'm standing here, the water was quite deep. I thought maybe 4 feet deep or so. My mom said always you could sink a car there and not see it. But if you walked out into the water this far, the sand under your feet was so soft and silky. I remember our dad taking us telling us where he would come upon big rocks under the water, and us girls would see who could get out to where he was, and then claim the privilege of standing on that big rock as long as you could. So, of course, many of those rocks have been pushed out of the lake bed by the ice in the spring. So when the ice breaks up in the spring, the wind often comes out of the northwest and blows with such force against the ice that it actually moves even the big rocks out of the way, and it will pile them up to the edge of the water and make a new rocky shoreline. And some of those rocks even split right in half. So this area was all underwater, and it was so nice to go walking along the edge of the lake. There was little muskrats and their houses that lived along the shoreline. There were also skunks that lived in the bush and raised baby skunks. We could hear the grouse making their beating sound all summer, and then there were owls. You could hear them at night. You could see deer sometimes when you came down the path. And one summer, my sister and I came down here and found a huge bird. It looks like a coyote had some lunch here. But they need to have their snacks, don't they? There's one of the big rocks. So anyway, we came down and we saw this huge bird, and we were just amazed that we could see such a big bird. To us it looked like a pterodactyl, and we tried getting as close as we could, but it didn't like us being that close, so it spread those gigantically huge wings and took to flight. And we were just amazed that we saw that bird down here, that little humble swimming hole. And since then I've seen sandhill cranes, cormorants, and possibly night herons. I've seen them, so it could have been one of those birds. But what an impressive bird, impressive wingspan it had. Probably 8 feet or more across. So in the wintertime there were hockey games on the ice. We even made a homemade Zamboni and pushed it across the lake to get the ice smooth again so the guys could play hockey and we could skate. And I think the Zamboni was more fun pushing around that than even the game afterwards. And some friends even came out one winter and they would have a fire by the lake in the snow, and even they made an igloo. It was a bit windy that day, and everyone could take turns taking shelter in the igloo. So there's one of the big rocks you could see just off to the right. The color of the sand was not really yellow, it's more a grayish color like this, but just very, very silky. I have just loved sand ever since. And you would see the sun shimmering over the water like that at night. You could see the moon shimmering through the water. There were so many wonderful sights, wonderful sounds. And one year we even had ice sailors come and sail their ice boats across the frozen lake. So back down the trail, there was so much to do in these woods. We just spent so many hours playing in the bush. And there were wild Saskatoons and wild strawberries. And if you've ever tasted a wild strawberry, there's nothing that compares to that taste. It's just incredible. And there were gooseberry bushes. And the gooseberries never got to the point where they were burgundy red, because we just loved them so much we ate them green. Of course, we were always hungry for a snack, so the berries were fair game. The trees that you see here are mostly poplar trees. There are other bushes too. There are wild rose bushes in this forest too. This is a white poplar. Very white and smooth bark. The white poplar leaves are very broad, across, a little bit short and very broad. And here's black poplar. And they are very long and thin. Two poplars, but two very different barks and very different leaves. In the fall, when the leaves start turning yellow like this, and you have a blue sky, the gold leaves against the blue sky is just so stunning. Every fall, we look forward to the changing color of the leaves. And you'll see some of the little bushes. They are peach colored. Some are darker red. So there's a variety of colors. One last little sneak peek of the lake through the bushes. It's still nice to walk down here and see all the beauty of this place, even though it's changed so much. And that's one thing you never get tired of, is see the sunlight with the sun gleaming through the trees. This little pathway had us kids going up and down it so many times, countless times. On the way home in the afternoon, we'd be walking back and see our long shadows in front of us going back up the path. And there we are, the lake.